Hi, I'm Graham Elwood, and welcome to the Political Vigilante. We got some new lights we're playing with. Um, the stands they came with are too short, so they're kind of on chairs. So I don't know how great this lighting is. You're seeing some shadows and shit. I'm just trying to take my YouTube to the next level, man, and crush it. Be a tech crusher. What? Doesn't make sense. So we're gonna try this. See how this works. I'm gonna do a couple like this. I might have to send them back. Bear with me. I'm trying to make it better quality, guys. Like this and subscribe. That helps the show afford better lighting and maybe light stands that actually they came with this kit. It was like these two lights that are great, these LED lights, and then it came with a stand. I didn't really read the thing closely, so the stands are really short. So the stands are on chairs, which defeats the purpose of a light stand or any type of stand. If you have to then put the stand on another thing, really defeats the purpose. But we're giving it a shot. So there's an article that just came out in Bloomberg that was reposted on Yahoo in the Yahoo business section, written by Julie Vertage, talking about, there's a report that just came out from Goldman Sachs, and now Goldman Sachs is starting to worry a little bit about Trump, which is peculiar. So there was all of this talk right after the election. There was a little bit of a spike. There was talk in the business community and in Wall Street. There was a stock spike. You know what? Maybe Trump's deregulation of things and opening up, making less taxes, he's going to bring business and it's going to be a boom for America. And everyone was like, see, here we go. This is what he said he was going to do. He did that carrier thing. He's made some of the auto companies not build plants in Mexico and build more stuff here in America. And what this Goldman Sachs, not exactly a bunch of tree-hugging hippies over there at the GS, are starting to have some fears. And the reasons why they're starting to have some fears is there's three reasons. It's not a very long article. The three reasons are this. The struggle that the Republicans are starting to have in repealing Obamacare, Goldman Sachs feels this is a sign of things to come, because the Democrats are just fighting it tooth and nail. And there's certain sections of America going, wait a minute. There's even some Trump supporters saying, wait a minute. Oh, the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare are the same thing, or I like Obamacare, and this is helping me, and it's not going to be that simple. And so many constituents are telling their Democratic and Republican lawmakers, hey, we don't want this necessarily to go away. That also brings up the partisan divide is now worse than ever. And part of this is fueled by liberal constituents or Democratic constituents. I did another video about the Democrats are getting flooded with phone calls and emails by people saying, resist Trump's nominations, resist his travel ban on Muslims, resist this wall in Mexico. And so the country is very, very divided. And that's a tough place to do business, according to Goldman Sachs. And then the other thing is they're talking about there's a real potential for market disruption, according to Goldman Sachs. And you're starting to see that in the tax on, Trump said, I'm going to put a 20% tariff on any products coming from Mexico into America, and that's how they're going to pay for it. No, the American citizen is going to have to pay for that. And then any products made in America sold in Mexico, guess what? There's going to be tariffs on that. There's also these travel bans against the Muslim countries. The U.S. Olympic wrestling team has a tournament, or maybe they just had it, coming up in Iran. And initially the Iranian government said, no, if you're not letting our people in, your wrestlers don't get to come here. I've heard that the Iranian government has since lifted that, but that kind of shows you how governments are doing this. And this is how it's going to potentially be tough for anybody doing international business. Hey, buy American products, people are like, I don't want to support this crazy country. And it's not just crazy hippies, it's Goldman Sachs, who has had people in every single cabinet since the 80s. We'll go into this. Quote from Alec Phillips, from the Goldman Sachs Group. Following the election, the positive shift in sentiment among investors, business, and consumers suggested that the probability of tax cuts and easier regulation was seen to be higher than the probability of meaningful restrictions to trade and immigration. So Goldman Sachs, did you think that ban the Muslims and build a wall was just talk? And he was going to just say that to get elected and then just make deals with all you bank people and everything was going to be fine? Going into the Obamacare struggle, there's more quotes from this Phillips guy. The recent difficulty congressional Republicans have had moving forward on Obamacare repeal does not bode well for reaching a quick agreement on tax reform or infrastructure funding, and reinforces our view that a fiscal boost, if it happens, is most likely a 2018 story. So that's a real thing. Trump is going to be mired down in all these fights. The travel ban is now immediately becoming a legal fight. People are, and organizations are going to court against Trump for a number of things. There were even some Super Bowl ads. I did some stuff about the Super Bowl that, the American Petroleum Institute did an ad, but also there was some ads that were sort of hopeful, like 84 Lumber did that one about letting people in, and Coca-Cola had an inclusiveness is a great part of America. So it's going to be interesting because what Goldman Sachs is saying is if Trump is in all these legal battles, how can he pass pro-business, tax cut legislation? How can he do that? Going to the polarization of the parties, here's the other quote that Alec Phillips says. While bipartisan cooperation looked possible on some issues following the election, the political environment appears to be as polarized as ever, suggesting that many issues that require bipartisan support are likely to face substantial obstacles. Phillips said, while we have not expected a sweeping overhaul of regulation in any of these areas to become law, recent developments lower the probability somewhat that even incremental changes could pass in the Senate. Yeah, because what's happening is people are paying more attention than they ever have. This show, me for starters, I'm paying more attention. Many of you are paying more attention. And we're all calling our representatives a lot more. And so if the battle cry is just stop Trump at every level, then any piece of legislation he tries to pass could be just like, nope, block him. And here's the most interesting quote of this, is there's a real possibility of market disruption. Some of the recent administrative actions by the Trump administration serve as a reminder that the president is likely to follow through on campaign promises on trade and immigration, some of which could be disruptive for financial markets and the real economy, Phillips concluded. So Goldman Sachs is saying this. Guess what? If Trump messes with their money, then he's going to get impeached. He won't get assassinated. He'll get impeached or put in prison, and Goldman Sachs will be behind it because they run everything. Pay close attention, guys. If Trump hurts any of these guys' wallet, they're going to turn on him hard. This is Graham Elwood with the Political Vigilante. Stay vigilant, everybody. Pay attention, like and subscribe, and share. Let me know if you like the lights. I got to do some more stuff with the shadows. Some big shadows over there. Thanks for watching.